That's where it gets kind of confusing, right? That's okay. If we do number 15, we're going to take the limit of x, or 1 over x plus 3 as x approaches negative 3, and then we're going to look at it from negative infinity. So that's, here's the weird thing, is this is telling us that when I go to graph this thing, we're going to look at it from negative infinity. So that means that we're going to come from left to right. We're going to look at it from the left-hand side. So we know that I can't plug in negative 3 because x can't equal negative 3, because if it does, then the denominator equals 0 and my function is undefined. So if we graph this, we're going to get that little, this is a lot like the other problem, just different numbers. So now I'm going to say x plus 3, and when I graph it, I'll pretty much get the same graph that I got before, except now I have a vertical asymptote at negative 3. Right? So here's the thing, this little negative sign here is telling us to look at the value of y coming from left to right. And so this particular limit is negative infinity. Now if I were to say the limit of 1 over x plus 3 as x approaches negative 3 from the other side, this plus sign here is telling me to look at this from positive infinity, so now I'm going to follow the curve this way, and then that would give me a limit of positive infinity. Well, the limit as x approaches negative 3 of this function does not exist because this one doesn't equal this one. They're not approaching the same value.
Okay.
So sometimes in the real world what we do is we want to study the behavior of a graph, and we'll use this graph, and we just need to know that if I want to take a limit, I can only take the limit from this side. Right? I mean, this data, this value is important. It's blowing up towards infinity, but I know I can only look at it from this side. And the same thing here. This value, this data is important, but I can only look at it from this side. So there are examples in the real world where you have a behavior like this, or maybe this function fits the data perfectly, but I only want to look at this side of the data, or I only want to look at this side of the data. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And so,
Thank you.
yep.
Could you, perchance, just like